I've been offered a bigger role, but with no compensation change, just a promise of a bump soon when the budget improves. As a diverse candidate, should I take this and hope it turns into a real promotion, or should I hold my ground to get paid what I'm worth? My intuition is that they will not give me the bigger job until I prove I am already doing it.
Yeah.
First
That
off, have you ever been in this situation?
no, usually there's a pay, usually pay is included. That's why it seems kind of ridiculous to just, oh, I'll give you the title. And some people hang up
Maybe
on titles.
maybe it's a female thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. But I hear this a lot, and I feel like it's a conundrum because you're like, on the one hand, if I get that title, I can grow into that pay. They'll pay me for it eventually. They have to because it's like based on titles. Or I could parlay that into another job somewhere else because I have that title and no one knows what my pay is. Um, on the flip side, you get that all the time. It's like, oh, well, we'll give you something. We're not really giving you anything for it. We'll just keep you. It's a way to keep you happy so you don't quit or leave, and you don't get actually what you deserve.
By giving you more
And
work.
yeah, by giving more work. And so yes, the fighter in me says stand your ground and just like say no. Um, and then I mean it's a negotiation, right? Everything's a negotiation. And I feel like if they're telling you that, then you're clearly doing the work of that to deserve the title anyway. So you should be compensated as such. But I would think that they would eventually give it to you anyway, and they'd have to pay you. So it's almost like a negotiation tactic to say no. Like, why would I take more work if you're not going to pay me for it? And then they'll come back and say, okay, actually, never mind. We found some budget for you. And miraculously, it appeared, and we'll pay you for it. But if you are, it's kind of like it's not a self worth question, but it's almost like if they treat you that way and you feel that way. Deb Lou told me this, she said, I knew someone that their manager told them that you will never be promoted here, and it's like, why would you ever work? Why would you not leave right away? Because that's a gift. If they're telling you that, you do not want to be there. If they're telling you that we're going to promote you, but we're not going to give you more pay, it's like, well, why am I here? If you don't, if that's how you value me, then I should probably go find somewhere else to work. It's like almost like a kicking the can down the road in terms of, something worse is going to happen down the road where you feel like you're really mistreated, and they're just using you for, your work, and they're not going to compensate you the way you deserve to be. If you're not getting compensated how you deserve or what you've earned, then you probably shouldn't be at that place.
I think that sometimes there is actually a reason, just having been on the other side of it. But if I were in that position, I would, or if I were advising someone in that position, I would say, okay, you need to set a deadline. And if this deadline is not met, and it could be, something that is just an internal deadline based on what people told you, but you could also,
You should get in paper probably and writing probably too. Just
yeah, that would be good.
yeah. I mean, but there's other ways, budget or not, you can get equity. There's other ways that can compensate you.
Yeah, exactly. And then if that deadline isn't met, like to your point, that's a perfect opportunity to leave,
Yeah.
right? Because you have gotten more experience, you've got a better title, like you are much more marketable. And so you have gained something. And yes, you probably should realize that you're being taken advantage of it by the current situation, but be able to parlay that. And so like the story that you need to be telling yourself is like, I did it. I'm great. I'm more valuable, and I'm gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think I would just add a couple things because one of my observations about this topic in particular is it's very, very gendered. And it's interesting because the advice women are always get is like they don't negotiate for pay enough or whatever. But the data actually suggests that women do negotiate, and when they do, it backfires on them more than men. And so I do think that it's important to kind of keep that in mind, but I also agree that this is a conversation starter, and you should not take the conversation as given. You should negotiate in this moment, and I think somewhere between your advice is exactly what I think I would recommend, which is say, I'm very interested in this and I think I can do a great job in this new role. I'm very confused as to why you would want to give it to me without a compensation increase, because you couldn't get it externally with a compensation increase. Are you thinking that is that exclusively because of budget, or is it because you're having doubts in my ability to do this role? Get them to be a little bit more crisp. And then the other side of it is, to Amy's point, force them into and how long would I be doing this without being compensated for the new role? Putting some of that burden back on them in a polite way to make it clear that you don't think that that's how this should go down in the first place.
Clarifying all up front is really important, because then when you get to that deadline, then that is when you have the conversation again. Because I have been in a situation where somebody, honestly, I think nagged me every week about a raise, and and it was a guy, and I wanted to strangle him. Like I could not stand. Like I was like, dude, eventually, and it wasn't this exact scenario, right? Like, but it was just, it was awful.
Yeah. But he probably
So
thought he was so entitled to feeling like he deserved it. Obviously,
yes,
it's bugging you.
exactly. So you don't want to have to bring it up like every week, right? Really you want to be able to focus on the work, focus on the growth, and have this underneath and ready to kind of pull the trigger based on that upfront. So having, I think, Meg, like what you were saying, having the upfront courage to have that talk in the moment is really important to set yourself up for the future.
Yeah, and I've heard this from so many people. It's like they have the reviews and they're like, oh, well, you're still missing a few things, or you're at, you'll get there. But at some point, it's like that dragging you along. If there's no timeline or time horizon, like you're saying, like have this conversation. It's like, if I'm not promoted by this time, I'm leaving. And it's like, okay, well then it's like you can't kick the can on the running way. But there's so many people that are taken advantage of, especially I feel like Asian Americans who are really good ICs. And like, hey, I want to be a manager. It's like, well, we like to keep you in an IC position because we think you're really good at that, and we'd rather you focus on that. But it's like, well, why? Like, there's no. I feel like they they're being programmed into this position that they don't even want to do anymore, but they're so good at it and they're good worker bees, so they're going to stay there. But for me, it's like that's the worst place to be, because you clearly want something else. If you want to stay in IC, that's one thing, but if you want more for your career, you cannot stay in that position because they clearly keep like putting the cheese in front of you and stringing you along, and it's like that's not a good place to be because they clearly don't care about your career advancement.